Tin Man, before you go and buy a Harley, I have words of advice, okay? I'm in my 40s. I've bought and sold 30 to 40 motorcycles now. Low mile, one owner, nothing done to it, okay? Buy a stock bike, full maintenance records. That's the bike that you want to buy, okay? You pick it up when I'm throwing down, big fella? But the one I found, it's got a thunder header and it's black and has a 98-inch twin cam motor. And when you fire it up, it shakes the windows and offends every sane person within a 1 mile radius. Dude, you don't know who built that bike. Was it some guy like you in a shop, not cutting squish bands? Or was it a professional doing machine work? Think about that, big fella. You don't want that bike. That is not the bike for you. I'm telling you, big fella, you're not going to be happy with your purchase. In the time you were talking, I drove across town with my truck and trailer and I bought a 98-inch Road King. 6 owners, high mile. It's even got a little bit of an oil leak, I'm not going to lie. But it's got a black thunder header on it, bro. You're going to be sorry, dude. That's a trip inside the mind of a tin man. I have bought a bazillion motorcycles in my life. Ducatis, Hondas, Yamahas. I've had dirt bikes. I've had an ST1100, which is the ugliest motorcycle ever made. I challenge any of you, list a bike below that's uglier than an ST1100. Great bike. Rode that thing for years. But friends, this is the thing that I go through. And I knew what I was in for. This is an old bike now. It's a 2003. It is 23 model years old. It's got a lot of miles on it, and it's been modified heavily, but that's what I wanted. So let's talk about where I'm at. I'm waiting for parts right now, friends. This is just more of an update video and what I plan to do. Before we start, though, I want to give a shout out to a lovely lady named Deborah. How you doing? Debbie, Deb, and Billy from Missouri, the mighty state of Missouri. Dan from Missouri also hails from there. Maybe you guys know each other. Probably not, though. Deb and Billy, they reached out to me before Christmas. Deb, I finally got your greeting card in the mail. So I don't know what happened to it. It took forever. I was beginning to give up, and it showed up the other day. So Deb, thank you. And Billy, thanks for your support, both of you two. This YouTube thing, it's just me talking to a camera in my garage like a madman. It's nice to have real folks reach out to you and say, hey, I watch your content and I enjoy it. So anyhow, folks, let's go around the bench and on the lift and let's talk about where I'm at with this stupid bike I bought. Or is it? No, friends, I'm just kidding. I'm 100% happy with this thing, but it's got some things. It's got some things. Well, here she be, is sitting here on my lift. And again, how did we get here? Okay, front cylinder's off. How did we get here? Well, I had a small, right here, friends. You see that? That's all wet. Right here. Okay? Just barely enough to even rub it on your finger. Okay, but you can see it's all wet here, down here, and there. I showed you guys this before. I had an oil leak, so being a good vehicle owner, Harley, you guys know me. You guys have seen me with various trucks. I do maintenance. I'm that guy. Like, I change my oil, my spark plugs, change the transmission fluid. I'm that guy. I do the maintenance. But the maintenance always seems to ask me for more. So, story of my life, friends. Just kidding. Okay, so I'm like, I'm going to pop these cylinders off, and I'm going to fix this here oil leak. I've had a million of these top ends off over the years. What could go wrong? Everything could go wrong. That's what could go wrong. Son of a patoot. Again, friends, I'm in a kidding mood. What could go wrong? Everything. Everything went wrong, but nothing's really wrong, friends. This motor didn't blow up. I noticed a few things, and I decided to dive into this thing. And you know what? I knew 100% what I was getting into when I bought this rig, okay? The fellow said, this thing has 65,000 kilometers on this 98-inch motor. How long will a 98 last? 65,000 K, maybe 100, maybe 120. I was hoping to get 50,000 K out of this motor on the high end. I tend to not break things, and I ride these things pretty sane, but it is what it is. So anyways, we popped off the top end. These O-rings, I did some reading, friends. These O-rings are not renowned for leaking on paper. But when you start digging around on internet forums, current and going back, okay, a lot of guys talk about their twin cams, especially modified ones, leaking at the base, okay? I read thread after thread on guys having an oil weep just like I have, okay? Some guys report, put a new gasket in here, a new O-ring from Cometic, slide her in, torque her down, good to go. Other guys say they leak again. So I think, friends, what I'm going to do here, you guys know what I'm going to do if you hang out here. I'm going to put Moto Seal on this entire base surface, okay? That's going to add maybe 2 thousandths to my overall deck height. We should be okay with that. Okay, so these cylinders are great. They're good. They're happy. I ended up checking them. They are indeed, you guys saw the last video, they are 3.937 of an inch. So these are 98-inch cylinders, okay? They're actually half a 10 thousandths undersized. that's great, okay? Anything more than 9.3 or 3.9375 to 938, okay? These things would probably be ready for the scrap bin. You cannot overbore a 98. That is the problem with this build, okay? It is what it is though, right? I knew what I was getting into. I knew exactly what a 98 inch is. This is like a 5 to 10% overbore, meaning it's bored past the specs, okay? So that leaves us with these thingamabobs here. But when I open this thing up, I notice these beautiful forged pistons covered in, caked in carbon, okay, which told me this thing may be burning a little bit of oil, a little bit of blow-by. Not a lot of discoloration in between the rings, which made me skeptical. Again, they're coated, a little bit of wear on the intake side, normal. I was going to throw these things back in. These mic, perfect, 3 thousandths clearance from here to these things. So what ended up happening, friends, is I was miking these rings. Now, my rings are kind of loose in the ring lands, which began to make me think that perhaps I should replace the pistons. Reasons to not replace pistons. Well, I'm going to have to remeasure my valve clearances. Okay. I don't know what cams are in this bike, so now I'm pulling the cam chest apart because I want to see what cams are in this bike so I can find out total lift at top dead center. Okay. That'll help me plot all this out. Okay. The total lift at top dead center might be 180 thousandths, depending on the cam. Okay, but I'm going to have to measure 100 thousandths on the exhaust and like 60 to 80 thousandths on the intake. Okay, so now I have to do that because if I don't do it, this thing will probably run fine, but if I'm ripping down the road and I really ride this thing hard one day, at high RPM, I may actually float the valves and I may actually tap this. So also, I have to make sure that my valve pockets, if I have oversized valves in my heads, I may have to get these fly cut. Okay, so I may still need a machine shop. Anyways, friends, so what did I do? I went to eBay, which we all know and love. I love me an eBay. I try not to go on there very often because I could spend a lot of money. And what I actually did here, I knew that these were probably Wiseco. Guys told me they were Wiseco. So I measured my rings, and these were on eBay. This seller was completely on the up and up. These are Wiseco. These are Wiseco rings for Wiseco tracker pistons. So, and that's what I figured these are. So I ordered these rings. Well, friends, they're the wrong size. Okay. These are rings for new Wiseco tracker pistons. They do not fit. Not in any way, shape, or form. So these are 1.2, 1.2, 3 millimeter, meaning 1.2 top, 1.2 second, and 3 millimeter oil ring. That is the thickness of them. Okay, these rings are 0.95 top ring, 1.1 bottom ring, and 2 oil ring. Now, I thought to myself, I bought these from California, friends. I'm not sending them back. It'll cost me about the same to send them back as it will to just keep them, so I'll just keep them. The new pistons I ordered, because that's where I ended up going. I ordered new pistons, friends. I ordered JE 10.5 to 1. They have a 10cc dome. They should be almost a carbon copy of these. JE and Wiseco are owned by the same company. JE being a little bit more of an expensive piston. I considered ordering Wiseco trackers. I was having trouble finding them with the right dome. Okay. I don't want to lower the compression on this build. Raising it, I'm not against, but really, I just want to put this thing back the way it was. I don't want to spend a bunch of money on the dyno tuning this thing. Again, I might have to do that. So I ordered new pistons, and the new pistons actually take these rings. So we'll just keep those. And when we wear out these new pistons or the new rings, maybe we'll take them apart. Okay, so my pistons are 10 days out. So I'm waiting for my new pistons. When those come, I will mic them again. I need 3 to 4 thousandths clearance. Okay. If you watch the other video, I mic these. These are exactly 3 to 3.5 thousandths clearance. Whoever built this motor knew what they're doing. Okay. These are finish honed to the right size. Now, what I'm hoping is, because these are like 3.9, 3.65, they should be 3.937. Okay. I hope that half a thou isn't half a thou undersized for my new forged pistons. Forged pistons need to be warmed up a little bit more. They usually run a larger clearance. They expand more. They also rattle more when they're cold. So they are a noisy piston. That kind of thing doesn't bother me. Okay. So again, friends, they said get a Harley. Why I bought this one? Well, here's why I bought this one. Because if this bike was an 88, here's what it would do, friends. When you twist the throttle, it would make more noise and it would go slower. Minivans would pass you. I remember 2004, the summer of, I broke the neck off my choppy chop. My buddy had a 98 Electric Glide Standard with an Evo. And I remember the time I was going to pass, I was in the outside lane in traffic and I went to pass a guy in a Dodge Caravan and he whooped me. Most embarrassing day of my life. So anyways, friends, I like power. As you can tell, I mean, I'm a chainsaw porter. I'm kind of a silly fellow when it comes to power. So always get the big motor. That's kind of my life mantra. If I bought an 88, well, then I would be boring these out to the same size because this is the biggest motor you could put in these. I'd be buying new pistons. I would also need head work done, etc., etc. So I'm still well ahead for what I want to do. If you're a fella that just wants to putt around and cruise, don't buy something with a built motor. Unless it's freshly done and has a warranty, I wouldn't mess around with this stuff because if you're not a wrench like I am, you got to find somebody to work on this, and then you're going to be paying thousands and thousands of dollars worth of labor. I mean, just the labor on where I'm at right now, pulling the motor apart, I mean, I'd be 5 to 10 hours in at, what, $150 an hour? That's crazy talk. And in the meantime, this is pretty rowdy. I don't know about you guys, but I like a tach on a motorcycle. I like a tach on everything. Driving a vehicle without a tach is like driving a vehicle without a steering wheel for me. I mean, I just I just can't do it. We're not even going to put that back together right now. So this bike does not have a tach, and it's got a built motor. It would be nice to be able to row through the gears once in a while. And this thing's revvy. This bike, I'm curious to see what. Just sliding that back on. Yes, you can take the front ring off of a odometer tach. But anyways, friends, this thing's pretty rowdy and it revs. And I'd like to know where I'm shifting at. And also, well, she's a built motor, so it's kind of cool to have a 5-inch Pro Tach. Not everybody's cup of tea, I get it. With a shift light. Yeah, that adds 15 to 37 horsepower right there. Okay? I don't know if I'm running the shift light, but it'd be pretty cool, even if I don't use it. So anyways, friends, I saw this. I was looking at tachs on eBay, and it was like, wow, our part's expensive now. A tach for this bike is like $700, $800 Canadian. This tach, brand new, it's a little bit different now. They got some buttons here and that. But this tach, brand new, is like $800 Canadian, and then you got to buy a shift light, right? Well, this is like $250 now, $200. So we're talking $1,000 for this tach, and the tach would be new. And I just, this thing's old and it's got soul. So I bought this thing from a seller out in California, and this is off of a drag bike, and this thing got walloped. Okay, when I got this thing, it was all caved in here and here, and it was all twisted and smashed. Like, look at the mount. And I already straightened this, friends. This thing was so twisted. Okay. Here's a few pictures from the eBay ad. See, it's pretty smashed, but it's complete. And the light works, so I rolled the dice. But I knew, like $30 you can buy a new strap mount for an odometer. And I took the front ring off, and I straightened her out enough. Little paint, or I'll just polish that up, and the rest of it's fine. The back looks good. It's got a little schmutz on it here, but I don't care about that. Even came with a snazzy mount, so it's gonna end up something like that. You can see the handlebars. Wow, look at all those chainsaws. Who has that many chainsaws? I know, me. But yeah, I'm gonna mount it somewhere like that. Right on my bars, I ordered mounts, and we're going to fab up a bracket, and yeah, she's going to go like right there. So I got about, I don't know, $120 in this thing. Then it's old school, and I kind of like it. We, a couple buddies, we built a Softail years ago. Ew, I know. Friends, I hate Softails. Always have. You'll never catch me riding one. Motorcycle should have shocks on the back, you know, uppy downy shocks on each side of the swing arm, but that's just me. But we built a Softail for a buddy with a big motor in it, and he mounted one of these. Screaming Eagle used to have a Pro Tach exactly like this. He mounted one with a shift light, and I just thought it was the most randy dandy thing. Well, that was 25 years ago, and 20 years ago probably. And I thought, well, I still think it's a good idea, so I might as well do it. You only live once. So anyhow, friends, I checked all this stuff. Okay, these are beauty, nice and smooth. There's a bushing in each one. There's a spec for clearance. And yeah, I'm gonna pull my cam chest apart. We've already had that apart once. I broke a bolt last year. Where did I break that bolt at? Weird. I thought I had a black bolt in there that was rusty or something. I think it's this one. I can't remember, friends. Anyways, I'm going to pull this cam chest apart, and the cams are marked on the back side, so I'm going to pull this whole thing out, oil pump, and I'm going to do my inner cam bearings. These are renowned. I got a comment from a guy saying, hey, buddy, you want to do those inner cam bearings? So now I have to, because, well, the YouTube gods will smite me if I don't. Because, I mean, if somebody comments something and it happens, it's almost like you willed it to happen, right? So, so we're going to pull this apart, inner cam bearings, which means I have to buy a pulley, a puller, and install tool, So I'm just tooling up to work on this thing. It's going to cost me a little bit of money, but all in all, it is what it is. Now I know my cam chest is good. I'll know exactly what's in this motor. It's a stock rods and crankshaft. I'll know what cams are in here. I know I got a Screaming Eagle hydraulic cam plate and pump. So I know that's good. I know my inner cam bearings are good. I'll have new pistons and a freshly rebuilt top end, which means I can just ride this thing year after year. I don't trust it right now because I don't know what's in there. Also, I have to get rid of this stuff. This 100th anniversary stuff is not my cup of tea. But a black Mikuni air filter is. Oh, yeah. 2 reasons. I just like a black Mikuni air filter. I'll probably cover it in decals or stickers, depending on what part of the States you're from. I don't know how it became decal and sometimes sticker, but I noticed some of y'all call them stickers, and some of you are like, it's a decal. I never heard of a sticker. It's weird to me, but anyways. We ordered that. And then last but not least, pulling my primary off apart. I'll probably just take the whole cover off. I want to see what's in there. Also, I'm going to remove this. It's crazy, friends, how much money you guys ask for these on eBay. These are, I mean, they're all peeling and they're not in the greatest of shape. Harley's chrome is good. Like, this is factory chrome, but it seems their accessory chrome is not up to snuff. So, yeah, I'm going to ditch these. I'll hang them up on the wall or something, but I'm not into the whole 100th anniversary thing. And lastly, friends, this thing, love it or hate it, I love my FXRT fairing. I got a couple issues. Number one, this headlight's rubbish. It's not very bright. Shout out to Clearview windshields. I actually bought the Clearview cover, this thing. Way better than the one that came with this. But I know, more chainsaws. What? I know, it's a problem. But I can't decide what I'm going to do with this. I may actually try a carbon fiber wrap. True story. And also, while I got you guys here, I think I'm going to move this thing back an inch. It's a little too close for my liking. So, or a little too far away. I'm going to move it back at least an inch, which means these risers are going to have to, I need taller risers, friends, basically. So we're going to go taller risers. All summer I thought another 2-inch riser would really float my boat. Yeah, another 2 inches of riser is exactly what I need. So, yeah, we're going to move this thing back and maybe up a 1/2 inch. Again, I did pretty good. I made that mount and everything by myself. No plans. And then I got to sand this down and either wrap it or paint it again. What else are we doing here? That's about it, friends. These are on the list. Definitely am looking at replacing the shocks. And, well, 20 years ago, I was living in the city then, 18 years ago, I bought a written off Suzuki TL1000S because it had chrome wheels and an inverted front end. Well, move forward, I really wanted to use that inverted front end to build an FXR like 20 years ago, before FXRs were really a thing. But anyways, I got these Tokiko 4-piston calipers, and I actually mocked these up. These will fit this bike easily. I can make a bracket. I don't even need longer brake hoses. I'm just going to cut these tabs off. And apparently this master cylinder will nicely make these work. So these calipers on this bike, if you've ever ridden a Harley, their brakes are rubbish. Compared to a Japanese bike, one finger, like anything modern, you know, anything made in the last 25 years, one finger, you can stop yourself. This thing, give her the full Monty, you know, the full meow. Squeeze that grip, that lever as hard as you can, and then they just lock. So you either have no feel and no initial stopping power, or they just lock. I put these floating rotors on, way better, but we can do more. This is going to turn into a nice ride. And again, I'm keeping this thing, so I really, really enjoy this bike. And I mean, it's got the Screaming Eagle 6-speed. I'm sure the clutch is done in this thing because there's no issues with that. And yeah, compared to the new stuff, guys are getting 130, 140 horsepower. 110 horsepower and 110 foot-pounds, which is approximately what this bike makes. More than enough. This thing absolutely hauls the mill. So the long story and the short story is, all I got to do is wait for parts, and then pull my cam chest right here, pull my cam plate, oil pump, cam shafts, inner cam bearings, replace the inner cam bearings, put that all back together, then pump up my lifters, put my cylinders with my newly fitted pistons and rings in, put the cylinders down, put the heads back on, torque the heads down, put clay on top of the pistons, check my valve clearance at top dead center, which should be within spec. Then, if it's in spec, take it all apart, measure the clay, make sure it's good, clean all that out, put it back together again, and we'll be riding. In 463 easy steps, you too can have a Harley engine that's still slower than anything made in Japan in the last 20 years. True story. Anyhow, friends, thanks for hanging out in the shop, and we'll get this thing back together sooner than later. I'm going to need a couple of full days to get this thing all wrapped up. A lot of fitting and checking and putting it back together, but in, like I said, 463 easy steps, I will have a bike running again that ran when I took it apart. This seems like the wrong thing to be doing. Anyhow, later.